There are a few quick things that I want to show you how to do that will make editing easier. The first one is the way that I made sure that the text was in the right position. When you select the text, when you start moving around with the arrow keys, it will let you know when you are actually in the middle of two things. So right now we're in the middle of those two things. The next thing is on grouping. So with everything down here, if you don't have anything selected, so if you just click off of the canvas, you can then click and drag to select multiple items. If you have something already selected that you are wanting to click and drag on, it will drag that item. So again, if you don't have something selected, you can click and drag so that it will select multiple items. And once you've done that, you can hit group, and then this will make it so that you can move this around in whatever way you want. All right, so then the next part is the text has an outline on it, and that's gonna make it so that it's gonna, when printed, it's just gonna look like it's a different color, which will probably look weird. So I'm gonna start by ungrouping these objects. And, oh, interesting, so the text is also not centered. Okay, so this is another helpful tip. So if you group these objects like this, and like this, and like this. Let's say that these were already centered and everything about it was exactly how we wanted it. When you try and position these objects, that line telling you that they're equal distance apart is either not going to show up or is going to be an inaccurate number. So when it just showed up, what it was showing was the group of objects is equal distance apart. But as you can see, the text extends past the image. So that's going to make it so that this image is going to be slightly off to the side because it's not aligning to the group of objects correctly. So the way that you get around this is you have to make sure that whatever the biggest item is, everything else has to match that width. So I'm going to ungroup these. Then I'm going to select the text, click position, and this will allow me to adjust the width. And I need to start with this one since it's the biggest. And I'm going to set that to 1.8. Then I'm going to center the text. I'm just going to do this real quick. 1.8, center the text, and 1.8, center the text. All right, so now once I've done that, when I select multiple objects, and the way that you do that is by clicking the object and then holding shift and clicking the next object that you want to do, or you can just do the drag and drop method if it's available, but in this situation, because this line would show up, it isn't really available unless I lock this object. So the easier way is to just click one object, hold shift, click the next object. So now that both those have been selected, we're going to center those. Do that for this next group, center those, and center those. All right, now we're going to go through and group each of these. All right, now we'll be able to set these equal distance apart. I'm going to have this object go right there, so it's slightly over to the side. Now, obviously, the first thing is that your object that's in the center needs to be aligned in the center. Otherwise, everything else will be off. So center. All right, so this is why it's extremely important to center these objects. So I just realized there's a huge space over here compared to what's over here. All right, so this means that actually a bunch of things are slightly off. So we need to select these two, and there's no way that's center. Oh, okay, so again, you're only aligned, if you have two objects selected and they're not grouped, then you're aligning to those objects. So I need to first group it and then click center. Okay, now we're looking better. So now that the objects are, everything is aligned, now I can set it to be equal distance apart like that. All right, so now back finally to the issue that we were originally addressing. Okay, real fast, I'm gonna select these and then center these objects. All right, now we can finally get to the, all right, no, we can't get to the font. So this is another thing that's very helpful to know. So right now I can't select the text because this whole layer is existing above the text. A very fast way of doing this is by using command in the left and right bracket. So if you use command in the left bracket, it is doing this. It is sending the object backwards. So command left bracket, that's what that looks like. So now when I do that, so I press it once, now that's showing up, now that one's showing up, now that one's showing up. So that's what's happening if you're ever not able to select text or an object on the page. All right, I'm gonna ungroup these real quick and then grab the text. Again, you click on an object, hold shift, click the next object. So the first thing that we're gonna do is switch the effect so that it's not outlined, it's lifted. And just the reason for this is because at a distance, it seems like it's the wrong color. It seems like it's just a different color. And especially when it gets printed, you're not really gonna see that there's an outline on the text. It's just gonna look like it's the wrong color. So we're switching from outline to lift. And that now makes the text a little bit harder to see. So we are going to change the boldness of the text by coming over here, and I clicked the font thing, hit that toggle and switch to medium, and now the text looks like white. All right, now that we've done this, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna group these, and group these, and then I'm gonna group all of these. So that way the whole object moves together, because now we know everything in here is aligned in the way that we want it to be aligned. One of the last things on positioning that I'm wanting to do is make sure that everything has equal spacing. Group those. So now these will move together. And all right, so now things aren't actually spaced perfectly yet. So those two are, and now those are. Now, finally, that everything is equal distance apart, I'm gonna select each object, and one more time, hit shift, then click the next object. So I'm gonna click all those, and first, let's position them in the center of each other. And now we're gonna group them. And now we're gonna center it on the center of the page and the middle of the page, like that. The final thing is how to adjust things in the background. So in previous versions of the photo, I had actually removed the lights because they're just a little bit distracting. I think it looks better without them. So what I did was, you're gonna have to move this off the page and then you can access the image. But once you select the image, edit photo shows up here, and then you're gonna go to magic eraser. Now with this, the way that it works is that you want to, anything that you're erasing, you kind of want to select more of the area that you are wanting it to be replaced with. So if I make this too big and I show that I want it to be replaced with most of this, but then it's crossing over into this dark area, this is what will happen. So I'll put this weird circle in the shadow. That wasn't as bad, but it can obviously be worse. If you need to reset everything, you just go to reset tool. So what would be better is to go like this. So that looks okay. It still put that weird circle in. So let's just try and smooth it out by kind of telling it that we want it to match the rest of what was over here. There, now that's smoother. So get rid of that light. It's a little weird. Then get rid of this one. And then once you're done, just click Edit Photo. So now it's the version without the lights. I'm gonna grab this overlay and center that. And now it's good to go.